For almost a century, the Galactic Council had gathered in the gleaming halls of the core station, where light from 1,000 suns shimmered across mirrored domes. Representatives from every known civilization came to decide the fate of the galaxy. They debated trade, borders, science, and security, and yet one name was always absent from the attendance registry: Earth. At first, the omission seemed minor. Humanity was new to the galactic stage, barely a few decades past their first warp drive. Many species assumed they were too young to matter, too primitive to contribute. When Earth failed to send a delegate to the first council assembly after being invited, no one cared. When they missed the fifth, the council sent a polite reminder. By the 10th, whispers began spreading through the outer colonies. The humans weren't ignoring the council out of arrogance, the rumors said. They were too busy fighting among themselves, too busy repairing a dying planet, or too backward to understand the invitation. Others said something darker, that they were preparing, that their silence meant intent. Years became decades. The seat labeled Terran Confederation remained empty, polished but untouched. The Council continued its work, expanding its reach and its control, convinced that Earth was a fading ember of an insignificant world, until the day the silence ended. The Galactic Council's latest summit began like any other. Delegates arrived in processions of light, their ships gliding into the core station's docks. The chamber filled with the hum of translation drones and the glitter of ceremonial robes. The agenda was routine: expansion into the Perseus Fringe, adjustments to trade taxes, the containment of pirate clans. Yet tension filled the air. Unconfirmed reports from border systems had been circulating for weeks. Unknown fleets moving silently beyond mapped space. Power signatures that didn't match any known design. High Chancellor Rakal struck the council gavel once, his voice calm but wary. Let the 197th session of the Galactic Council commence. As the proceedings began, a tremor passed through the chamber. The station's long-range sensors flared to life. Alarms whispered across command decks. One by one, the delegates paused, glancing toward the ceiling as the light panels flickered. A projection bloomed above them, uninvited, overriding every local feed. The holographic display showed a dark void filled with countless shapes. Triangular hulls, blade-like profiles. They moved in formation, precise and silent, each one bearing a glowing blue emblem, an Earth insignia. A voice spoke through the static, measured and cold. This is Fleet Admiral Mason of the Terran Confederation, requesting permission to dock at the core station. We apologize for our delay. The chamber went still. Rakal's frilled crest twitched in disbelief. Terran Confederation, he repeated, his voice nearly cracking. You are centuries late, the human voice replied evenly. We had things to prepare. Outside, 1,000 Terran warships held position, arrayed like a wall of steel. Their hulls bore no ornamentation, no banners, only function and intent. They dwarfed most council fleets, their weapon systems quiet yet unmistakable. Each ship pulsed faintly with energy fields unknown to the council's sensors. Some whispered that the fleet's presence warped space itself, bending starlight as though reality strained to contain it. The council's defense grid activated automatically, shields humming across the station's perimeter, but the human ships made no move to attack. They simply waited. The chamber erupted in argument. Delegates shouted over one another. They bring warships to a diplomatic summit. This is an act of intimidation. We should open fire before they do. Rakal silenced them with a gesture. Bring them in. Moments later, the chamber doors opened. A single shuttle entered the central hall, descending on quiet thrusters. The crowd parted. From it emerged a small delegation of humans, dressed not in armor or ceremonial garb, but in dark formal uniforms with silver trim. The man in front walked with slow, deliberate steps, his expression unreadable. I am Admiral Mason, he said, Earth's representative to the Galactic Council. Rakal forced composure. You come armed, with 1,000 ships. Explain yourself. Mason's eyes met his. We were invited to join the Council long ago. We did not decline. We listened. We observed. We prepared. We wanted to be ready before stepping into the circle. A whisper spread through the crowd. The human tone was calm, but there was weight behind every word, a gravity that made the air seem thicker. Rakal folded his claws. Preparation does not require an invasion fleet. This is not an invasion fleet, Mason said. This is insurance. We learned much about this galaxy while you held your meetings. We learned about the empires that expand through intimidation, about the smaller worlds that vanish when they vote against the Council's interests, about how your treaties are enforced with fleets far larger than necessary. We are not naive. He stepped closer to the center dais, every eye fixed on him. Earth did not miss your meetings. We simply chose to come when we could stand as equals. The chamber fell silent. Rekal tried to recover authority. Even so, your arrival disrupts our peace. These ships, your peace, Mason interrupted softly, is built on compliance. We came to ensure peace built on respect. At that, the hollow projectors shifted again, displaying data streams captured by the Terran fleet. Hidden colonies erased by Council-approved enforcement, mining worlds stripped of life, refugee convoys ignored. The evidence poured out like cold rain. Delegates turned pale, murmurs rising to outrage. The Council's facade cracked. Rekal's voice trembled. These are lies. Mason's gaze didn't waver. We do not lie. We record. The chamber shook slightly as the Terran fleet adjusted orbit, positioning itself in perfect formation above the station. The signal was clear. Control without aggression, power without chaos. Every defense array on the station blinked as the human fleet systems mapped them, measured them, and then quietly disabled their targeting locks. It was not war. It was dominance by silence. The Council guards tensed, but Mason raised his hand. Stand down. Humanity is not here to conquer. We came to join, but not as subordinates. Rekal struggled to breathe. You threaten the foundation of galactic unity. Mason tilted his head slightly. Then perhaps your unity needs better foundations. The human delegation placed a small cube on the Council floor. It projected a new emblem, a ring of stars surrounding the Earth connected by a network of glowing lines. This, Mason said, is the Terran conquered. Every world that has suffered under your policies will have sanctuary with us. Trade defense equality. No species will vanish again. The chamber burst into chaos. Half the delegates shouted in protest. The other half stared in awe. The Council had never seen defiance so calm, so absolute. Rekal's voice rose above the noise. This will not be tolerated. You will leave immediately. Mason's expression remained still. We will leave when we are finished speaking. He gestured and the projection changed again. Thousands of smaller ships appeared on the display, docked at Terran-controlled ports across the galaxy. Worlds long thought isolated were now marked with Terran beacons. Humanity had been everywhere, quietly, efficiently, unnoticed. We listened, Mason said. We studied. While you debated borders, we built connections. While you argued over taxes, we rebuilt planets. The colonies you abandoned now fly our flag. They did not join us out of fear. They joined because we answered when no one else would. The revelation struck the Council like a storm. The humans had woven an unseen network beneath the Council's nose. Relief routes, trade corridors, defense grids, all coordinated beyond their jurisdiction. The balance of power had shifted, and no one had noticed until now. Rekal slammed the gavel, but his voice no longer carried the weight it once did. You have violated Council protocols. You will be sanctioned. Mason stepped forward, calm as stone. You cannot sanction those who no longer stand beneath your authority. Earth comes to the table not as a subject, but as a sovereign power. You will treat us as such, or we will walk away and take half your dependent worlds with us. A deep silence followed. The Council chamber, once a symbol of order, now felt like a cage closing in on itself. No one dared speak. The humans had not fired a single shot, yet the balance of the galaxy trembled. Finally, Rekal exhaled. If you truly wish to join, submit a formal application, as all have done. Mason smiled faintly. We did, 100 years ago. You never responded. Rekal blinked in confusion, then realization dawned. For a century, bureaucratic neglect had buried humanity's request beneath politics and pride. The oversight had turned into a blunder that now threatened the Council's authority itself. Mason looked around the chamber. We came not for vengeance. We came because the galaxy deserves better. You can stand with us or against us. Choose wisely. He turned to leave but paused. And one more thing. If you ever threaten Earth again, you will not see our diplomats next time. You will see our engineers. The humans departed, leaving the Council in stunned silence. Outside, the Terran fleet turned in unison and vanished into the dark, each ship slipping into faster-than-light space without a ripple. When they were gone, the stars seemed quieter. In the weeks that followed, the galaxy changed. Dozens of worlds declared independence from the Council and aligned with the Terran conquered. Trade routes shifted. Pirate activity vanished near Terran space, erased by silent intervention.